With us now is Barton Adams, and you know him as the co-founder of Homageland TV. He's also my personal friend and one of my favorite co-hosts. And Barton, who did you bring with us to set?
Well, Donna, thanks again for inviting me. And as you know, there's no introduction for our guest here, Michael Pinckney from Boogie Vision, who actually, we met him at the Williamsburg International Film Festival with his first feature. And he'll tell you all about that. And he's actually working on a feature now that will be coming out in the near future.
That's exciting. And you know what I'm excited about is I recognized you and you haven't changed. They do have that phrase, okay, and I'm just going to say it because I can. I heard black don't crack. Is that what it is?
That's what they say.
You look exactly like you did 10 years ago.
Thank you.
And I do remember your film because it's, I believe it's called You're Nobody Until Somebody Kills You.
Exactly.
Ooh, and you had so many rappers in that. I was a little shy that night. I don't know if you remember, but there were a lot of people in the audience that night.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, you move in some interesting circles. So welcome.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about that feature that you did.
That was my first feature. You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You, about a serial killer killing rappers. Spike Lee executive produced it. Premiered at Willie Fest. Lionsgate eventually picked it up to distribute it. I just actually finished the sequel. I'm writing the sequel to it because it's a trilogy in my mind. So 10-year anniversary, just finished writing the sequel.
Now, did you ask Spike if he would like to be involved again?
No. I think no.
Okay.
It's a little younger. It's going to take place in Atlanta with Atlanta rappers and younger rappers. So I think it's going to have a different feel this time.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the part 2 of a trilogy.
Yes.
And you've been doing a lot of other things too, Robin.
Yeah.
Barton. Whenever, because usually it's the Adams boys together. It's usually Robin Adams and Barton Adams.
Well, he is co-founder of Homageland TV.
There you go.
That's
So we'll give him
right.
his props too.
Yeah. So I had the
Barton,
pleasure.
yes.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of going to your premiere of The Trade, which actually dealt with sex trafficking.
Yes.
And I just wanted to know where you saw yourself pulling that type of project together. Was it an answer to something that you saw in the community?
Actually, it was an article that I read about domestic trafficking, and this was 2016, and I wasn't aware of sex trafficking in America. I was like, wow, this is fascinating. So for 2 weeks, I kind of went down a rabbit hole and did a lot of research, and I started writing a feature called The Trade about sex trafficking in New York and Coney Island. And I shot a short version of the film, and then a pilot presentation, which I've been pitching. And then I went on and developed an unscripted version that we're pitching now called Trafficked, which is we interview survivors and we reenact it on parts of their life. So that's what we're doing now. We're editing it and we're going to be pitching it soon.
That's such an important topic. Actually, our family, I'll just call it our family here at the Donna Drake Show, we do have personal experience with that. So I would love to put you in contact with them because it's so important. And people think it's fantasy, but it's a reality.
Yeah.
And right in front of our eyes.
Right.
It's right here.
Okay, so when will you be starting to shoot that, and what's the process?
I shot 3 episodes in Dallas, Texas, and we're in post-production now. So
good for you.
So we're just trying to finish it up.
It's important, and I think a lot of times too, Barton, the projects that people bring to light are what need to happen.
Right.
You can use your art as a medium to make a difference.
Right. And that's why I wanted to be a filmmaker. Wanted to tell stories, and want to affect people. Want to inspire people. So that's at the core of why I want to do what I do.
And you've worked with some really interesting actors. You yourself are an actor too.
No.
No. I heard. I looked on the Wikipedia. I looked on the IMDb, and I don't know. You've been in a couple of things.
Just cameos.
Okay.
Just
cameos.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm more comfortable behind the camera.
You are.
Yes.
Now he told me, how he got started. So share with us what got you started in the film industry, which I thought it would have been like me wanting to be a director, but actually it's the writing.
Yes, writing is my first love. I always used to write when I was a kid. Come from a big family, 5 brothers, 2 sisters, and so I found myself alone a lot. So I would write a lot, and I started telling my father, my brother stories to get attention, of course. And then I got a knack for telling stories.
Wow.
And when I went to college is when I got introduced to filmmaking. I went to play basketball. I know I'm kind of short, but I played basketball. But the school that I went to, SUNY Purchase, was a big film school. And that's when I was kind of introduced into making my stories into films.
Wow.
Now, are you like fast, like a Speedy Claxton kind
Hence
of?
the name Boogie.
That's why. Okay. That's why because you're really great, huh?
Yeah, that, and I got the name working on the Spike set because
Okay.
I was really fast. And when I was a production assistant, and I was just really, I was excited. So that's where the nickname Boogie came from.
And it stuck. Yeah, because on
There's
set
so
that's
many Michaels, so it's like not a lot of Boogies.
right. Not a lot. not that many. You've also done other things too, like you've done Soul Kings, and you've done a Bet series From the Bottom Up, BET series.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that too.
I mean, that's a show that I produced with my producing partner, Stacey Muhammad. I was a gun for hire. They called her to direct a reality series. I don't do reality. I usually do scripted. And she wouldn't do it without me, so I went down there and supported her.
There you go.
And Soul Kings I did for Brick TV in Brooklyn. It's a sneakerhead show. I'm a sneakerhead. I got.
Yeah, what do you?
Adidas
You know what? We have to introduce you to Harlan Friedman too from Soul Free. But so your sneakers today. Tell us about your sneakers too.
They're classic Adidas.
Okay.
Right.
Not shell tops, but I have shell tops at home. And of course, I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, so sneaker culture was always big in Brooklyn when I was growing up.
Sneaker culture for me, because I'm slightly older than you and I grew up in the Midwest, we had our choice of a red swoosh or a blue swoosh. And that was it. It was like when Nike first started, I wish I still had my Nikes. And they had matching socks too, like the socks
Right,
you pull
right.
all the way up to your calf. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
with stripes. And you
Yeah.
try to match your stripes to your swoosh, and that was styling. But now sneaker culture is a whole new thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, now, in this industry, as we know, or even in life, this perseverance, what keeps you grounded? What would you tell someone that wants to be in film and television, especially as long as you've been in and grinding and doing well and just putting the work out? What drives you, or what do you recommend to people?
I mean, for me personally, faith. There
you go.
That kind of keeps me grounded. It kind of helps me stay consistent. And finding a purpose in what I do. I feel like I've always felt like media is my ministry. It's like how I give
Great.
back. So if you have something that kind of grounds you and a bigger purpose in it, I think you'll stay in it a lot longer. But if you're getting into it for the glitz and the glamour, the red carpets, you're not going to last.
Wow.
Because it's a really tough business.
it is tough. It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
And achy feet sometimes. Like I went from the red carpet at Tribeca the other day, wearing my heels to a film shoot my friends were doing, and I'm like walking on the street, and I'm like, oh, it is glamorous and it is wonderful, and I'm thankful every day for what we do.
Right.
But the passion that fuels, I think, all of us is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
to be able to bring something, a gift to the audience,
right.
To bring that forth.
Right.
So it's interesting that you've had such success. What has your family thought about that, and your friends that you grew up with, now that you've gotten so many great accolades under your belt?
No, I mean, they didn't get it in the beginning. My family was,
Like, what are you doing?
What do you do?
What do you do?
So, especially when I was a PA, they had no idea, until I think Inside Man, when I was assistant director on Inside Man, and I took my mother to the premiere, and she met Denzel, and he hugged her. He was like, "Oh my God, you're Boogie's mom," and she just, I think at that
Wow.
moment she got like, okay.
Yeah,
what
my
he's
son,
doing is
my
kinda
son's got
cool.
good friends.
Yeah, so, and she still has a picture on her wall with her and Denzel.
That's so
Wow,
sweet.
That's great.
Yeah,
that was a great film. I didn't know you did actually AD
Yeah.
on that. I know a
Yeah.
lot about you, but I didn't know you did AD. on
Yeah,
that.
that was one of my favorite films to do.
When something wraps, what does that feel like? How do you come down off the intensity of a day?
It's kind of like you're in war. That's
Okay.
how I look at it. I came into business as a PA, and then I was an assistant director for 15 years. So you're going into battle. So that's how I always saw it.
Wow.
So you decompress, you kind of, and you're all in when you're there. You don't see anything. You got blinders on. So it takes a minute to come down, but I think that's where faith and just kind of, you just kind of have things, meditation, music that kind of, decompresses you and gets you back, centered.
What would you suggest to someone when you run into that, to that block? You're working on the film, or whether it's your writing, like
Right.
we mentioned earlier about the writer block. Besides faith, what would be another tool that takes you past when there's no way out?
I mean, I think just listening and
Okay.
and being quiet sometimes. Sometimes the answer comes to you, in those silent moments.
Right.
And understanding that, the gift doesn't belong to you. It was given to you.
Excellent,
So I
excellent.
think once you approach it a certain way, You know, doors open up, you know, answers come to you, you know, and know that we're not really in control. And the fact that being okay with that. And that I don't really want to be in control. You know, I don't do a great job, you know, so I don't need to be in control. So I think there's a freedom in that, knowing that you're not in control.
Excellent.
I love
Well
what you
said.
shared, yeah, because there have been times, and I've told the audience, there have been times where I've wanted to pull the plug on the show. I'm like, okay, I've done 15 years. This is what I've done. And every single time I think that I'm going to retire and do something else. I don't even know what something else would be at this point in my life. But something magical happens, and I plug it back in. And I often tell people the show doesn't belong to me. The show belongs to the audience. The show belongs to God. And I'm just the lucky person that's the conduit for that.
The vessel.
Right? So I can't quit because it's really not mine to quit anymore. The show has a life of its own.
Yeah,
it's my
is your
assignment. Correct. And so like for Barton now too, you know, he's been a police officer, he's done so many things. You really have, Barton. And so kudos to you because now you're on this new journey, right? You're on your next assignment.
We were on the phone. I'm talking
like,
to
come
Donna
on,
about
Barton.
Donna. I'm just going to bring some guests on. And she goes, you're going to co-host with me. I'm going to what?
Yeah. I said, you're going to be in front of the camera. So you're writing now. Is there any project that you're working on, Michael, that is speaking to your heart and to your soul that you can't wait to start getting going on?
Yes, well, I wrote a feature called Gods and Kings.
Okay.
In the film, I shot a film in Dallas, a feature in Dallas called Unfavorable Odds. Comes out in theaters August 5th. And I'm probably going to shoot my next feature in Dallas called Gods and Kings, and it's about a 10-year-old boy with spiritual powers.
Ooh.
Love that.
And I'm passionate about that story. It really is a inspirational story. You know, it kind of reminds me of me being a kid. Not that I had spiritual powers, but you know, just understanding the possibilities in life and wanting to see change. And that's what the character wants to do. So I'm really passionate about that project.
That's beautiful. So beautiful.
That's excellent.
Like you look the same, you radiate the
But
same.
I drink a lot of water.
No, that's his superpower.
That
See,
is
what
your
you don't realize is
you
he's
don't
not
age.
aging.
You're not
Benjamin Button.
aging.
Yeah.
You're not aging. It is joyful to see you, to see your success, to see how you've thrived, to see the other people that you're putting, you know, you're employing other people, you know, and that's nice too when you have the power to employ people, to make a difference in their life.
Well, actually, he's working with Jax Media.
Great.
Can you tell us a little bit about Jax Media and the project that you're spearheading with them?
Yeah, I've been working with Jax for years as an assistant director. I did Top 5, Chris Rock's film. I did second season of Broad City as a first AD. And so I've known Jax, you know, media and Tony, who runs Jax, for a long time. And he brought me on to run this Jax Jobs program, you know, which is a initiative, a hiring initiative, a producer fellowship, a mentee program, an internship program, you know, elevating your emerging voices. You know, I was a young filmmaker and I didn't really have any direction. I just was thrown into the fire and figure it out. So it's nice that, you know, young people have people that they can look to guide them and give them advice and just kind of put them on the right path.
And how important would you say mentorship is in our industry?
I mean, it's super important. I mean, I was an intern and I bumped into a camera operator on the subway maybe 4 years ago. His name is Phil Oldica. He was a camera operator with Spike since Do the Right Thing. And I was an intern and he was a camera operator on the film. And my job was to watch the camera truck. They would go to lunch, I'll watch the camera truck. And one day he came on, you know, from lunch and he's like, hey kids, so what do you want to do? And I said, oh, I want to be a director. And he looked right at me and he said, okay, then go and direct.
Wow.
And that's something that spoke to my soul. I was 19 years old. Something spoke to my soul at that moment to make me, you know, not just be in the business, just go and direct. And I bumped into him 4 years ago and he was like, hey, Boogie, you know, he follows me on social media. He was like, how you doing? I was like, do you remember what you said to me? He had no idea what he said changed my life when he said it to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, and we all start somewhere, right? We all start somewhere. And you never know what you can do at this point in your journey to inspire someone, to change their direction, to bring them along.
Yeah.
You know,
The power of the tongue is very important to tell people, you know, something very positive that they can take with them the rest of their life, even though the person doesn't even remember what they said.
Right, and sometimes you don't even say anything. It's what you're doing, and they're watching you. People are watching you, Donna. You don't even know it, and we're inspiring people in real time. So that's a powerful thing.
Yeah, that's a
You know?
blessing for all of us, right? To be able to make a difference in that way. I know the people I'm still thankful for every day.
Right.
I'm also still thankful for every single person on my crew. I
course,
cannot
thank
do this
everyone.
without
Right.
them. I'm like,
Right.
there's just no way. There's
Yeah.
just absolutely.
Yes,
like
it's too
today, I
hard to
showed
do.
up with no shoes. I looked down.
So
I
now
was
you
like,
have to give you your sneakers.
no, I'm like,
Never.
so the whole team is like, they're like, well, you usually have a pair of heels here somewhere, right? And so like, yeah, there they were, and then somebody else brought me another pair. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
You know, the
Yeah.
community that people can
You can't do
build.
it alone.
No.
It's impossible. Anybody that makes you think that they did it by themselves is lying.
Right,
Because you
right.
can't do it alone.
Yeah.
You know.
And those were the images of a director. When I was a little boy, I thought a director just meant, you do this, you do that, you shut up. And, you didn't get that scene, and you realize later how it's really collective. It's a
Right.
collective art. It's not a dictatorship. Well,
Right.
maybe some places they might dictate,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
it works out better
sometimes
when you
because Yeah, because being an assistant director, I've worked with a lot of directors, whether
Yeah.
Spike Lee, Daniels, and everybody has a different style, you know. And what I've learned is that the best directors are good listeners, you know, and they kind of empower the crew and the people around them.
right.
Kindness.
You know.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love when people direct with kindness. Makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and you don't
Brings
have
out the
to be
best
a
in somebody.
tyrant. Yeah, I mean, I've worked with tyrants too, but you know, you get what they say, you get more bees with honey than
Yeah.
you do
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
so.
I only
same
have
thing.
one rule: no smashed goldfish on the set. No Dorito chips. You know?
So when you're on the set, like back in the day, it used to be the big old megaphone. When you're on the set, are you the one that's yelling out, or you more
Yeah, I mean-
come up on people and just,
Well,
get little quiet?
I was more
It's your
finesse
style.
as
Finesse,
an assistant director because I work with ADs that are big, brawn, yellers.
Okay.
But that's not my style. You know?
Okay.
And then I worked with an AD named Joe Reedy. He did all the Scorsese films, and he's
Wow.
a small, quiet. Thank you very much. And he does massive films, and that's where I got my style from.
Great.
And
great.
he just commands the set, and he doesn't. He's so kind, you know. So that's, you know. So that's how I am. That's my style.
I'm
That's
excited. I would love to visit. Right? You want to go
Yeah.
to Dallas? Can I come to your
Okay,
set
yeah,
sometime?
of course.
I would love that. I would love to
course.
watch you in action. I'd love to see
Definitely.
you do your thing.
Okay.
This way we don't have to just watch you on Instagram. We can be there with you.
Right.
Because he shows some great stuff on his Instagram
I do?
channel. I'm
Oh.
gonna tell you, he shows that behind the scenes stuff
Yeah.
that's really, really great, you know. And I think there was a scene I saw that you did on your Instagram where you were showing somebody how to hit somebody. Which film was that for?
Oh, that was You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You, and that was
Yeah.
rest in peace. That was Michael K. Williams.
Wow. Okay.
You know, he was in You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You. He was the first rapper killed in the movie. Yeah. So.
But yeah.
But, you
It's
know.
great.
So now it's young, up and coming rappers in Dallas
In Atlanta.
and Atlanta.
Yeah, you put so many new rappers now. I can't keep up.
I know.
You know, and it's probably and it's. I've always been fascinated with hip hop and mortality. But
Wow.
Rappers always talk
know.
about murder and death, and a lot of times art imitates life.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it happens. So that's why I wrote You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You, and I think we need it again because it's so
Right,
much
right.
going on with
I
rappers.
know there's
right
a
now.
lot of stress out there right now for them.
Yeah.
Gotta send them some good love.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, it's like a target on their back.
I know.
I'm
Right,
glad I'm
right.
not a rapper. I'm
Yeah.
not,
I once tried and I'm not very good at it.
What was the MC name?
It's double D, double D. Double D.
That's a pretty good name. I like that.
You guys are great. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you so
Barton.
much.
Thank you as always.
Thank you, and I have to definitely thank Boogie for coming on. We've been trying to get him for a few months now. He was
glad
on
I
the grind
finally made it.
and called him up, and I'm glad that you came and shared so much with us. Because
Thank
it's
you for
really
having me.
important to people in the industry to understand how you can go from here to there, or how you can just stay steady in life.
Yes,
you know?
it's about the journey, not the destination.
Absolutely.
That's how you say, right?
Amen.
And then
That's
secondly, are you happy?
Yes, I'm very happy.
Okay.
Happy and blessed. And I always
There you
try to
go.
live in the spirit of gratefulness.
Yeah.
Because what they say, things can always be worse.
Right.
So you better be grateful.
Yeah, and I think about that with children. We always ask children, what do you want to be when you grow up? And, I took a turn from, went to school for filmmaking and then went law enforcement and then back. So what I tell children is be happy.
Yeah. Find
Because
the
you
joy.
might do something and then you don't realize.
That's all you got. That's what else you got.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you
Right.
can't take the money with you.
No,
Yeah,
you cannot take the money with you.
So, yeah. Thanks
I
again.
know, this is good. This is good stuff. We could do a whole hour. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, and we hope that you are on the path and on the journey to making your own dreams come true. We hope you find the joy and the journey. Be well.